This cracks me up, you know. Nobody's here.
All right.
But it doesn't, well, it doesn't, there's nothing here for them, so they're not gonna come find out.
I think we're good to go. I'd like to call the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for June 19th?
18.
18th to order.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. In attendance are regular members Holgren, Leskovitz, alternate member Gunn, and Dulac. First order of business will be the minutes from the May 21st meeting. Now, let's see if we can do that one. I was here.
I don't think I was.
I was here. Fran, no, you were here.
I was?
And Dave was here.
Oh, yeah, that's what we
And,
did.
yeah,
the-
Charlie was absent. Charlie was the only one absent. Yep.
Can
Okay.
you sign if they
Alright.
are okay?
So it's 3 o'clock?
Yes. Yes.
So I move to approve the minutes of the meeting for May 21st.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
I'm abstaining.
So that will pass 3-0, and Charlie abstained. Okay.
Here's the key.
Let me borrow this. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, let's swap that. There we go. Okay, we have, the only thing on the old business is our PZ application 2014-15-6, and that's still with the state up for review, so we will skip over to that.
Any update on when they're gonna review it at all?
They are in the process of reviewing it, so the state has their application. They submitted a letter to the applicant requesting additional information, so that's where it stands.
Can we get a copy of that letter?
I have it.
You do have it?
Yes,
The
in the
next time
file.
we're going to just copy and,
Sure.
just so we see what kind of questions they're asking
Sure,
them.
sure.
Yeah, I can't
Yep.
imagine what they'd be
Yeah.
asking.
You already reviewed it.
It's,
Well-
this is for the wetlands, and so they wanted, current calculations. I think the calculations were, outdated, so they wanted current
What kind of
calculations. Like runoff
Oh,
calculations
yeah,
and the
okay.
impact that the, proposed development would have on the wetlands.
Right.
But then they, like I said, it's half the size of the previous one that was approved, so how could they deny it, right?
Which one? Well, no, they haven't approved.
They
No,
said
they're-
the previous plan for Fusey's building,
That's right.
they're saying this new building would have been smaller, so the runoff would have been less on the
Right.
same property.
Possible. I mean, it's. But no, I mean, did the state approve that one?
Yeah, that's what they
Not,
came
not
back
the
with.
state, the local wetlands
Yeah.
approved that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it was already approved for a larger building, so a smaller building should have less impact, was what they said, I guess.
But then maybe the way the tanks are being constructed and stuff around that could have an impact as well, so, I mean, who knows?
And I guess the other key component is that the applicant had to submit exactly what was submitted to us, so that's why they submitted what they did.
Gotcha.
And now that the state is requesting more information, then they can deviate from that. But, so they started with the baseline information that they had originally submitted to the town. So I will, the town manager also asked me to get an update on where things stood, mainly for invoicing purposes, because the town will be billed for the review and any public hearings that are held and all of that. So I have to follow up with the state on that. I'll find out what the status is.
Will we, in retrospect, bill them? I mean, can we?
I think
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
there was our issue with our, you know, when the people in the wetlands, the one person who didn't live in North
Yeah.
Branford, and then the other person
I know.
abstained, I mean, or excused herself. I mean, that.
True.
I mean, I
True.
understand, you know, but it's costing the town money, so it's unfortunate because it could've just came back to us. But anyhow, so there's no other old business.
How about the minutes for the, wasn't there another meeting?
Nope.
I think we approved them at the last
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
You were up to date on those. There's no new business.
Correct.
So then we're just going to other business. And so the first one on here is the concept idea for the restricted floating zone.
Yes.
Yeah, what
So-
is that? I couldn't figure out what that was.
Pool party.
So,
That happens in the inland wetlands.
Is this a
So
lake,
what-
Lake Gilead that we're gonna build out there and it's just gonna float out there?
Possibly, it could, so what I'm passing down is the zoning regulations from the town of Branford. And they have what's called an age-restricted housing district. And so, I just wanted to start this conversation tonight and let you review this and just think about it. What the concept is that it's a zoning regulation that could be applied to any parcel within certain parameters to be defined by this commission. And my thinking of the benefit of something like this is that I know that there's the parcel up by the ice hockey rink where they were looking to have age-restricted housing, but there were certain restrictions because they don't have enough space for open space. They wanted a higher density, but the parcel, may not fit former regulations that had been written and also rescinded. And we were trying to avoid that because in the past, parcels like Montgomery Village, there were regulations that were written, the neighbors came out in opposition, but the project still went forward, but then the regulations were removed from the book. Excuse me. So my thinking is that if we were able to craft something that could be applied to multiple parcels, but is treated as a floating zone, there would still be this two-step process where, say an applicant came forward, they wanted to develop a parcel with age-restricted housing, they would have to get approval for this floating zone to be applied to that parcel, and then they would also have to get a special use permit.
Okay.
So the benefit of something like this is, again, it doesn't say, okay, you have to have a 9-acre parcel with 6 acres of open space and, X, Y, and Z. There are more general parameters, maybe between a 9 and a 12-acre parcel. We can look at this as an example.
Mm-hmm.
But this came to mind, like I say, because not only of the parcel up by the ice hockey rink, but there's also another parcel that's on the North Branford town line that actually doesn't have any frontage, but it would be accessed. It doesn't have frontage in North Branford. The frontage is in Branford on Route 1. So it's near La Cuisine, kind of in that general area. They're looking to do housing on an industrially zoned parcel, and they're talking with the town about that idea. Again, that parcel in North Branford doesn't meet any of our regulations. Adult community that 50 Fowler Road is coming under is the closest one, but they would still need a variance for a reduced size because the minimum size I think is 20 acres and they only have 8 or something like
Is
that.
next to Evergreen Woods then somehow?
In that general area.
Yeah, a little down further,
Yes, it is down further.
a little further south.
Right. So because of those two potential developments, and it seems like there's a rising demand for age-restricted housing, it seems like it could have a positive benefit to the town because there's not the,
But positive benefit is obvious that you still collect property tax, but you don't have to worry about kids
right,
entering the school system.
right. And just in general, with the country facing an aging population, wanting to provide different housing options, this seems like an interesting option.
So
And like
basically,
I
this
say-
is, this is like an overlay, but
Yes.
it just you apply it to the property. So if somebody comes in for an adult community or over 55, whatever it is, the first thing they have to do is comply to this regulation that's townwide.
Yes,
And then once they comply to that, then they have to go through special use for just for the regular regulations that we have.
right.
Okay.
But this, again, would be specifically applied,
Right.
once the commission approves it, it would be applied to that parcel.
So it's parcel by parcel.
Right. And one thing that's interesting in Branford's regulation is that they say, so if you look at the first page, 5.6.b, they actually restrict this to the parcel location, has to be within 2,500 feet of town hall.
It's curious.
So they are really focusing on being
Condensed.
downtown,
Yeah, they.
walkable
Yeah.
community.
Well, it's great
makes
because,
sense.
sure, but we don't have that.
Right. But if it's just a component, it's something to think about. Is there something that we would like to see? It has to be,
So
located.
is that within, 2,500 feet is, less
Half a
than
mile.
It's a little less than a mile?
A little less than half a mile.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no
Yeah.
open lots there now, so if somebody wanted to tear a house down and put apartments on it, it'd have
I
to be.
wonder if this is where covered
The
Covers the
river.
whole, covers the whole
development
center.
on Monterey Street and the old Riley Mill.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think that's gonna be age restricted though. I think that's just 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom.
I think
Because
this
that's right near me. I think they just-
Riverwalk is that one of the developments?
That's part of the Branford Bar, yeah.
That's near Dunkin' Donuts over there, I think, isn't it, Riverwalk?
So that's not within. Do you think
No,
that's
well,
within-
yeah, it could be, because Town Hall, it's a straight shot.
Oh,
It's
okay.
on the
It's
opposite
the
side
other
of the
one.
high school.
Is that the second building they want to put in? They built one already, right? Walk.
Well, then they build all the apartments across the street from the post office. I think they're age restricted up on the
Yeah,
hill.
those, yeah.
Way up,
yeah,
there's a
those
lot
are-
of them up there. They're
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
new.
Yeah.
I like this, what it says here, it must be a minimum of 10 acres and 7 acres are left open.
Mm.
I was just about to say,
And what
how if they move their
continuous.
town hall, but they have the address there.
Right.
We'd have to be careful with that.
What they wanted to do up there, but I feel like he wanted young professionals to do
Mm.
what he was proposing. And, but that's already zoned 1 acre up there for housing, right? So he wanted to rechange the zoning.
But by the ice pavilion,
Yeah.
yes, it's right. It's R40.
And how many, when was there 7 acres total there?
Yes.
And the bridge
Maybe-
was a
maybe
big part of
6.
that
Yeah.
too.
Well,
Right,
that's
the
still for
open, that's the open space component,
Yeah.
but, right, the parcel
not
where the
continuous.
housing would be on, they had dropped it down to 25
It's
homes
still kind of half of that area.
for about, 6 or 7 acres.
Maybe we should wait
It's
till,
dense.
wait till Firelight moves out and buy the whole property.
So, again, just kinda wanted to
To
get
make up
your
the tax
initial
difference.
thoughts. This would obviously be a project, to pursue. I know that they are still interested in developing that parcel. They will need to come forward with some kind of regulation change. But a floating zone would be one
Who's
option.
the people,
Ice Pavilion, Al Secondino and Michael Belfonte.
This said the max density should be 9.5 per acre. That's like the old building lots, all the Cape Shirons in town, 1/8 acre lots. Those have more space than they're proposing at the Ice Pavilion.
Mm. Right, I mean, this isn't what they're proposing, I just wanted to share this as an
Mhm.
example.
Apply it to all open space in the town, so there's no more kids moving in, right? No more new houses for kids, right?
It's unfortunate that our zoning got so out of hand over the years, when the town first started. I mean, it's like anything went,
I thought, but zoning didn't start until.
well, it didn't really, but
70 or
60.
70?
No, I think there was a 62 version.
And there's actually a 56 version that we found.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cause I thought it didn't, things
Mhm.
start, I mean,
but it's still.
It's only like 4 pages, but it's
No,
still.
'cause what was it? 63, I needed to get a variance to put a garage on.
I mean, when I moved here, some of the streets were still dirt roads.
Mm.
Oh,
And those wagons, it makes a lot of dust, don't they?
Cowpath Lane was still.
oh my God.
So would you, just initial kind of read, what are your thoughts about a floating zone?
it makes it easier, so we don't have to keep on, like you said,
Mhm.
tweaking a regulation here
Mhm.
and there.
Yeah, we don't have, yeah.
I mean, tweak is not good, so.
How do
No.
you decide where to apply it to?
Well, when somebody comes up with an idea or what they want to present it, then we can choose to apply it or not apply it.
Right now, you've got still some large family farms in town.
Right.
So you
Right.
can apply this to all large farm tracts.
Well,
Oh, you
we
can
would
do that.
state in the regulation that it could be applied to all residentially zoned areas, so, and maybe industrial as well. You know, the case of 50 Fowler Road,
Right.
that went from industrial to over 55. They didn't change the zone, it just is an allowed use in that
Mhm.
zone.
Right. Yeah, you just-
But I don't know that we would want this in a B zone, for instance.
Right. And some of the odds we have to check too, I mean.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
As long as it doesn't conflict with the, what's that, plan?
Yeah, but
Plan
that's,
of conservation
yeah, no, I wouldn't
development.
conflict with that. I mean, like Flower Road's a perfect example, like if that doesn't occur, that's an excellent site for, and still zoned industrial. It's been cleared out to a point, it has sewage, I mean, well, it can.
Could connect,
Yeah, that's what I mean,
right.
it
Right.
potentially, but it doesn't have it there yet. So that could be, if that doesn't, if that isn't completed, that's a nice piece for somebody to put in a building and some kind of, you know, whether some kind of commercial, industry there. So, it's a good spot for it as well. I
Mhm.
mean, but for all this, I mean, nobody was gonna build in there, doing what they did, taking out the rock and all that stuff. I mean, you're gonna find a place that's more suitable, but now that's not a bad place. So if that doesn't occur, which is on the next agenda, but, at least there's other options for that piece of property too, so.
I don't think they're just gonna walk away from it.
Oh, no, I don't think they are either. No, I'm just saying, I'm saying something like that piece of property there, which was industrial zone,
I mean,
was never, nobody was ever gonna,
I mean,
I don't wanna
this,
say nobody was ever gonna do it, but why
This
would you
piece
build
of-
an industrial in there where you had to clear it all out?
being of age where I could be interested if I ever sold the farm,
Yeah.
what Branford is offering near the town
Yeah.
center is very appeasing,
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a nice unit, that one they built by the post office, when you're down looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we parked over, I didn't know it was there, we parked there last Father's Day for the Branford run and stuff, and I was
Well, basically, they tripled the size of the place,
like, what?
because the other buildings were already in the front, they built
In the back.
2 or 3 more buildings going up the hill.
All right,
Okay.
so yeah, we'll read through that. Next other business is an update on, speaking of Fowler Road, project update.
So the state came out today for a surprise visit, unannounced, and I joined them along with Kurt, and a representative from Cherry Hill also ended up meeting us out there because they got a call that we were out there after we had already arrived. They passed. Everything looks great. Donna Saracen, who is the person who is reviewing their application for the industrial stormwater permit, was happy with what she saw. The site is definitely much more secure, she said, than when she had originally seen it. The erosion controls are in place. In one of the pictures, you'll actually see tadpoles, if you look closely, that are in one of the ponds towards the southeastern side of the site. But it looks good. They, not today, but they had been processing some mulch and just turning that over, drying it, and then carting it off-site. They've been removing some sand, some gravel, no blasting. They still don't have their industrial stormwater permit. She said that they will be receiving their industrial stormwater permit on July 10th. And so at that point, they could start blasting once they get their permit from the fire marshal.
And one thing is, their last meeting was 4 weeks ago. So 3 out of the last 4 weeks, when I was like on Saturdays and maybe like Sunday afternoons and stuff, I've gone by there each day because there was talk about kids being in there.
Right.
And the site has been very secure.
Okay.
And I haven't seen anybody in there. So, I mean, I didn't see anybody working there once. On Saturdays, I think I've been up there like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and there was nobody there. And I didn't see any other cars or where, you know, somebody's playing, I guess they were playing
I guess the
paintball.
ATVs are just rampant
I didn't
through
see any of
there,
those
so they're
playing.
still having that issue. They're, tearing the silt fence down because that's their access in, and so they're posting the signs up again, telling the police. but they can't, I guess there's a whole legal issue of they can't put a Jersey barrier across because a neighbor on Frederick Street called and said this is a huge problem. They just moved into the area. They said, had I known that there were dirt bikes in my backyard, I never would have purchased this home. But if they put a Jersey barrier up and someone gets hurt, then they're liable for
Right.
that. So they can't change anything besides just putting the silt fence back
Yeah,
up.
Cause I know that I've went a couple of times too, the gate's always been locked in the
Yeah.
weekend, so
Mhm.
they're coming in another way.
Mm.
And I know there's a bunch that come right down, down Notch Hill and they go up Ledgewood. There's like a couple dirt bikes, a couple ATVs that I don't know where they're going. They go up the hill and there's usually 4 or 5 of them as a group.
Mhm.
I don't know if they're going up the next road where the guy lives that's been complaining, getting in the back way, or they go up by the Shell station and go, or the Gulf station and going that way.
Right.
You know?
Right. I think one of the ways is down the old dump road from Frederick Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did get scared though. A dog, a pretty big size, nice sized deer just decided to kind of come cruising out. I'm looking over my shoulder to the
no.
right, and I just look up. It was about like 20, 30 feet in front of me, and just standing there. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, there was a deer on one of the piles this afternoon when we were walking around, so.
So,
Their
Anyhow.
permit, they will be back before the commission, I expect, because their permit states that they are not allowed to blast past August, I think it's 13th of this year. So since they're not getting their industrial stormwater permit until July 10th, I expect them to be back, unless they can do all of their blasting within a month. But I've said to them, I'd really like for you guys to maybe hold off on blasting until September. Just to give the neighbors a summer off since they had to deal with it last summer. I don't know if they're going to comply with that or not. I set up a meeting though for Tuesday morning with Robert Sachs, Dave Dupuis, who's the project manager, Doug Anderson, Fire Marshal, Kurt, and myself to get a plan, a timeline, to have them lay out exactly what their plan is going forward so that we can understand what their construction plans are and really get a feel for what's going to happen between now and December.
and they have to alert the neighbors when they're going to blast too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Just gotta make sure they have a process for that, you know, what
Right.
neighbors and what process, because I think, like, if some of the neighbors come like they did before, I think it would be good for us at least, if they don't know, to inform them a week before, or whatever, or however it's done, and I
Right.
can't remember what it was in the regulation, and just, you know, if we need a list of who those neighbors are, and I don't think we have to monitor it, but at least if they come, we can at least say, here's the process, here's who's being notified, and this is when. Because a couple of them have showed up, so at least we can.
Well, they said they came out the day after to put their sensors out, not the day they were blasting. Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, but we don't know when they try to contact them. Do they leave a message and wait for a call back? I mean, there's, you know, there could be a lot of different things.
I
that
don't think
occur.
they were upset with the blast, it was more the rock crushing that was giving off all the dust and noise continuously.
So it says in here, this is in the site plan approval that was given on December 6th of 2012. If the applicant, let's see, if blasting stops for more than 90 days, the applicant will re-notify the property owners within the 500-foot distance from any blast area with a phone call. So it's been more than 90 days
Yeah.
since they blasted.
Yeah. Anything else on that, on Fowler Road?
No.
All right. And then, third item is discussion on signage. We just saw you put the regulation into our
Yes.
package, so
Okay.
what does our discussion need to be on that?
So, as my role of zoning enforcement officer, I've started to enforce the signage regulations, which is not the most pleasant job, but I noticed that there has been a lot of yard signs, the sandwich board signs, A-frame signs popping up all throughout town, and also just unpermitted signs is really what it comes down to. So the building official and I have been going out once a week, and I really just wanted to give you all an update and also just some insight into the process and what I found. So we go out once a week for about 1 to 2 hours talking with business owners. We don't fine them, we don't give them a notice of violation, and what I've been saying to them is, we're educating business owners about the signage regulations, and we've noticed that you have an unpermitted sign. We're requesting that you bring it in. Here's why it's not allowed. When it comes down to it, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the regulations, but essentially for any parcel, you're only allowed one sign. So if it's a shopping plaza, you're only allowed one sign. The size for a shopping plaza can be larger than, say, the 24 or 36 square feet, obviously, and that's approved by planning and zoning through the site plan approval process. So we've been educating people. I have to say, for everyone that I've spoken with, even though initially they weren't happy with what I had to say, they've all come around, and people have said, no problem, we'll take it in. The big challenge that I definitely recognize is that, especially on Route 80, the state's right-of-way is so wide that where the sign is for the plaza, it's on the property. But that's, in some cases, 10, 12 feet or more back from the road. And not only that's a challenge, but there's trees in between Route 80 and where their sign is. So I've taken some photos just so you can see. This is near the Guilford line in the plaza where Dalton's is.
Yep.
My back is at Country Paint and Hardware. You can't see their sign.
You're gonna see it one direction, coming from Guilford.
And for a short period of time. Because when the leaves are on the trees, it's blocked. And I spoke with one business owner who had a really good point, and he said, as a business owner, I do a lot of people watching, and he described that section of Route 80 as a bridge. He's like, people are just on their phones or just driving, they're not looking around, and they just want to get from one end of the bridge to the other, and they're not stopping. So from his point of view, he wants to put a waving flag out there, a sandwich board sign, flashing lights, anything that he can get to grab their attention. So now I have this challenge of, I want to try and enforce the regulations, have something that complies, but definitely don't want to see an empty Route 80. That's, one person said, well, would you rather see the signs out there or no businesses? Of course, that's not the intent.
Right.
It's just trying to come up with something that works. I don't think that cutting down the trees is the option, but we can't move the sign forward because of expense and also more so the state's right-of-way. So this is the predicament.
Let me ask you a question. I know it's the state's right of way, but can they put the sign in the state's right of way, or you can't do that at all?
I don't believe that you can, because I've heard from some businesses that the state has come along and removed some of their signs that people have put up because they are in the state's right of way. And they'll say, oh, just move it back so many feet and then you're fine.
Because one of the things is like, I can understand the business owner saying it's a bridge and people are driving through, but at the same time, if you're looking for something, a business on Route 80, and you can't see the sign, you're just as much as ahead, because now all of a sudden you're going from, 35 or 45, go down to 20, because it's kind of like around here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're
Right.
slowing down, you're
Right.
looking, whether, if you're not familiar, you could be looking on the left side, right side. I know it's down by the Guilford line, so you're going down. So I can understand both points. One, they want to promote the business, and
Right, and like this example with the barber shop that's across the street. So this is on the same side as Country Paint and Hardware.
no, that's definitely the right of the.
Yes,
the
that's
state
in the
right
right
of
of way. That's an unpermitted sign.
The one on top with the pizza select,
That's a banner,
Right.
also not allowed.
but they could put a sign up there. Just can use a banner.
Right, the sign above it is fine, and I said I'm happy to work with everyone if they have suggestions. The banner was just, we were going after really focusing on the sandwich board signs. That was part of that plaza, so it was like, okay, while we're here, we're trying. The other thing that's been really challenging is that, of course, everyone says, why are you picking on me? Look right down the road. And I just say, well, I have to start somewhere. And, you know, we're trying to go out, like I say, once a week, and it's just a verbal, you know, conversation, not even a warning. But now we're getting to the point of, okay, what should we do? So here's another example of just how far back that sign is from the edge of the road.
How about,
Is this little sign here, this one? Is it?
No.
Oh, okay. Because that one's in the state right away, so I.
Right. They
Yeah.
removed that. And actually,
Okay.
if you drive around, people, like I say, have been very compliant. Like the Northford store, the ice cream shop had a lot of little signs. They weren't happy about it, but they removed them. So another topic, so there's the challenge of what do we do with the distance between the right-of-way or the edge of the street, the edge of the pavement, and the property line, especially on Route 80. The other challenge is for new businesses. You know, they say, well, people don't know that it's changed hands. There's nothing in our regulations that allows for a new business to have a temporary sign. So that was one proposition that I was
something,
going.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Okay.
but isn't there something that if they have an event, like special thing going on, that they can put a
Community
sandwich
event.
sign? Just a
Right.
community event?
So it says, the commission may, upon written application made to it and by resolution, authorize the establishment of temporary signs for periods not exceeding 10 consecutive days and totaling more than 30 days in any calendar year, for the purpose of announcing special events having a community purpose.
how many days?
So that's,
30
and that's very.
In a calendar year,
A community,
but 10 consecutive days,
the
sorry.
community, what's that, the community event?
Mhm.
I think that's very broad. A community event could be a new business coming to town too. So I mean,
Sure.
maybe we might wanna, I mean, if we're gonna
Okay.
touch this, maybe we
Okay.
should, no, I'm just saying we should
Right.
clarify that, because we can take that as a broad thing. A business comes to our town, you know, it's a
Well, what do you
community
wanna
event,
do?
we
You
wanna
wanna-
promote it, we wanna, you know, the
Well,
town to come, you know, people from
You
the
want
town.
to explain what a community event is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Well, I mean, we can, right now, the way it is, it's very
Right.
broad. We don't have to. We
Yeah, I
can do it
knew
the way
that
it
there
is.
was something in there that we did put in purposely because, and I didn't think it had anything to do with only, you know, something was coming down in the town, like Potato Fest or
Right.
something like that. It had to do with that particular business. Something was going on that they wanted to
Right.
bring attention to.
Mhm.
Well, I know around Central Plaza, you get the big community sign there, it's right next to the road. Plus a lot of little signs for Poppies, and if you go down 139, you get the sign out there for the nail salon or spa or something like that.
So if you'll notice though, Central Plaza looks a lot better. Poppies is the only one that has their sign left. And I haven't spoken with them, so to be fair, I
Right.
haven't even,
And
but
then,
the nail salon, the frozen yogurt, and the liquor store all removed their signs. And I feel like it looks a lot better. And Nada's, I don't know if you noticed, put a new sign up top
Yeah.
Right.
that looks really nice.
What about the baseball field by the police station? There's always big banners on the fence there for stuff, right?
Well, I think some of those banners there are just, those are for.
Sponsors of the
Well, the
teams.
championship, because I think their championship years, where they went to Florida, they were Eastern champions. But I think sometimes there
I
is
think
stuff
they're
out there.
sponsorship
And-
banners.
And one thing, I don't know if we can talk with the Parks and Recreation,
Mm-hmm.
but I know when there's, like signups for,
Registration.
Oh.
so registration or
Sure.
signups for events, a lot of people use the boards
Right,
over by the police station,
right.
up, the center of Northford.
That I would consider as a community event.
Right,
But they're limited to 10 days, you're saying?
yeah, this is, we might wanna take a look at that, cause I know like the registrations
Technically,
usually run
right.
about a month. So, or a few weeks, so maybe we wanna, if we wanna take a look at that, maybe if we feel that needs to be increased, maybe,
Mhm.
you know, double, or maybe make it a month, or whatever it might be, but I'm just saying, if that's something we wanna look at.
What was the sign that was out in front here for the dog walk? How long was that out here for?
But that was,
Dog park, right, with
Yeah.
the thermometer.
That was out there for
yeah,
6
Well, I know,
months.
and that's the other kind of catch-22, is I'm going around, you know, asking people to remove their signs, it's like, look at our own front lawn.
It's not there anymore, right?
No, but there's the hazardous waste
There's
pickup,
a
there's the
Tilcon tour.
Tilcon, right.
Tilcon tour sign out there
Yeah.
now.
What about for sale signs, the odor signs?
Those are fine, those are allowed.
Yeah.
It's actually called out in here.
Okay.
It's really,
I kind of feel bad for some of the businesses because they're trying to attract business,
know.
you know?
I know.
And there's gotta be a way to work with them.
Can we find out from the state
Mhm.
if they will allow, and I'm gonna use the word temporary signs, meaning that they're not in a permanent structures mounted into the ground. So, if, you know what I mean? I'm not saying put up like a temporary little tiny sign, but maybe there's something they can put out that they get it a little bit closer to the road. And that they can help them promote their business, but
Mhm.
also still not being permanent like this, like, you know, like this giant anchor piece in there. So if it has to be removed, it's not a big deal. I don't know, you know, so I don't, or if the state will even give us like can we get a variance from the state for like a, you know, a distance on Route 80 from, you know, from the Guilford line to, you know, maybe it's like Tucket or somewhere, or whatever needs, maybe we can, I mean, I'm not sure if that,
Right.
if that, I mean, if there's even that process, where maybe we can help out, maybe we can get 5 feet, you know, closer to the road and help some of the business owners out.
As long as it's not a permanent
Or maybe
sign.
if they had some kind of a sign, depending on the size of the plaza, or, you know, that the tenants could share. In other words, take turns advertising, you know, something special that they're known for. It would give the public at least a chance to know that that business exists,
Mhm.
because, you know, you, sometimes you don't even know business is there. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
like the nail salon
Right.
over there. I didn't even know they existed.
Right.
Somebody had to tell me they were there.
Right.
So, you know, if it was something like that that the state would allow, you know, decent size, but something that they could interchange within the so many stores,
Yep.
it would be fair to the businesses and still not have all the little things.
And I think it's also, you know, I mean, one thing is promoted within North Branford, but being in that Route 80 and some, in 139, you know, you have people from other towns passing through that. I mean, that's a way to, you know, let those people see, because that's the economies we want. I mean, you know, right now, people in North Branford, I mean, you know, so you might not know of every place,
Mhm.
but the place you know, you support. But
Right.
when economy, where it would really help if we start getting the word, people passing by and see a business that, you know, oh, well, maybe I should stop there, I'll try that, or
Right.
whatever it might be.
Yeah, like,
And we start
especially
getting people
there's
from
a
other
lot of
towns.
unique
Yeah, we
businesses.
start
There's
getting people from other towns here.
a bead and rocks, I don't know what
Yeah.
they sell, but
They put a sign on Notch Hill that was for, it had the wine trail and I think one for Van Wilgens on the state put it up.
Oh, that's right. The brown signs.
Yeah, so I mean, all right, put it on state property, the state's gonna put it up, but they can promote the businesses, I mean, they're
That's an
promoting Van
interesting
Wilgens.
idea.
Yeah.
That's
I
right
guess
on,
that's the other question is, okay, if the state allows them to put something in the right of way, what's the look and
Yeah,
feel
well-
that the planning and zoning commission would like?
Right.
And I think that's an interesting idea, like the uniform, you know,
Yeah.
the brown sign,
Yeah.
like a sightseeing.
yeah,
Yeah.
because not only that, but that particular sign does designate certain things at certain times of the year. I think
Okay.
there was something up there recently, I forget what it was.
And the same thing, I think when the gentleman that opened up the winery on 17, that's one of the things that, you know, he was asking for was the signage, because I think when you do this, the state right away, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you can remember this, but I'm almost positive that when you take in the distance that the state has, his
Yeah.
sign was like in his driveway. It's right at the driveway, I
it's-
think that,
Yeah.
so,
Wasn't helping them.
so, I mean, I see in the sign,
Right.
you know, he's got, I mean, conformed to our sign and everything, it's small, but it's there, and you see it when you go by, but if there's things we can do, you know, with the state, you know, and if that's the case, if we get something where we would have to add to the regulation, you know, what that sign should look like,
Mhm.
unless the state has specific, format, but if the state doesn't, then we would have to probably add something in here, because there, you know, the different signage being on the state property closer to the road than versus, you know, when you're back away from that, the state
Right away.
right away, yeah.
What about even designating areas as a business district? Like if they had, if the state had a sign saying, you know, entering the business district, North Branford Business District or something.
I
Maybe
don't
that
see
doesn't help.
good that would help.
Yeah.
Route 80, business
It's,
district.
yeah, obviously, you know,
District
very
A or
much
District
of
B, you know.
Right.
plazas, it's a
Right.
business district.
Yeah, yeah, and the individual signs I think are more important than
Yeah,
the, I mean,
right. Everyone wants their name.
yeah, when you're driving down Route 80, I mean, you see a number of businesses, and I think, you know, that's the you know, if we're able to do something for them, that would, I mean, I think that'd be a good thing.
Remember all the
Mhm.
signs that Hilltop used to put up? They
Who?
changed, Hilltop. They had all the big
Oh,
character
yeah,
signs, and
yeah.
they changed them every season, they,
Right.
you know. And when I saw.
And they're still doing that on Route 22, the nursery there. She's got all little signs
Oh,
just like that,
yes.
yeah.
I don't know. I haven't spoken with
They had big plywood signs, and they were.
And they're
right
kind
on
of
them.
interesting to look at, you know, I
Right.
mean, but
Right. Well, and you know, that's the thing is obviously a lot of people say, well, am I harming someone? Is it a fire issue? Is it a safety issue? No, it's not. You know.
that's why I
It's-
think that we have to come up with something that, if the state would allow us to get some kind of communities type sign that they could, so many stores could share
Mhm.
and put, you know, take turns putting in. I mean, it would take their cooperation, but I think that they would cooperate knowing that it's that or nothing.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right. Right. And the other big barrier that I just see is the cost, obviously, of you know, any kind of new sign, depending on the size and what it entails. Some people have spent money, obviously, on those signs that are unpermitted.
True.
Well, we can, I mean, we can help them, I mean, and it'd be up to them as a business owner, if the signage, I mean, if they're putting these little signs and different types of signs to promote the business, then I think if we're able to do something to help them, you know, the expense would be, it'd be their, you know, their plan is, I mean, whatever a sign costs, is it worth it to promote the business?
Yeah, some of those
They-
little signs
I mean,
can't cost that much.
Yeah, I mean, at least we can
Right.
do is at least try to do something to, you know, help them out so they can promote their business a little bit, whether it's, you know, a group signage if it's in like an
Mhm.
area that has multiple stores, or, you know, some individual businesses. Like Fran
Mhm.
said, I mean, there's a number of areas, or, you know, they have multiple businesses. So they might be able to do something like
Quite a
that.
few, right.
Then there's some that have their individual business on their own little parcel or whatever that they might wanna promote. So if there's something we can do to help them, and then it'd be up to them to, you know,
Yeah.
we conform to either the sign, regulate, you know, the regulation of the sign, or do we tweak it, especially in that, you know, in that area on Route 80,
Mhm.
you know, to have a different type of conforming sign put up, so.
Okay.
I mean,
And I
we
also-
can entertain that.
I also plan to talk with the Economic Development Commission to see how they can help promote these businesses. Because although I think signage obviously helps, I think a lot of these places, it's just word of mouth and people knowing where they are really drives the business. So,
Reputation, right?
I don't know how many people look at our website, but that's certainly a place that maybe some of the business might even want to advertise on. I don't know if we can do that and what their charge would be, but
or even, you know,
because,
other towns maybe just list, if they list businesses, I wonder.
I don't know, but I'm just saying is that we certainly should be able to help these businesses survive.
Yeah, I mean, one thing is driving more people to the website would probably be, you know, and especially, I mean, not only for business in general, but I think we even talked about it as, like when we have a public hearing. I mean, I know there's minutes get in there,
Mhm.
and there's agendas on there,
Mhm.
but maybe we even start, you know, putting more information, whether it's the town council, the individual commissions, and I know it's a little larger undertaking, but, you know, but that's
Right.
something I was, you know, that I think would help the town, you know, the people say, okay, I went to the website, it wasn't there, okay,
Right,
but if we start putting it there and getting the word out,
right.
I think that would be, you know, beneficial in many ways. And then, like you said, if we could put some, whether it's business, just listing their names. We don't have to get into any more detail or,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
what they do.
you could
You categorize
I was gonna
them.
say,
Yeah.
categorize all the pizza places or
Mhm.
all the restaurants or fashion places, things, you know. And then a miscellaneous naturally because you can't put them all, but,
Who does it? Who
At
does take
least-
care of our website? I mean, how does?
Right now, Dennis is updating it. He's our IT tech, and then
Mhm.
Anthony Esposito is kind of the in-house person. But obviously, he's a lot on his plate, and
Oh, yeah.
we're in the process of getting a new website. I don't know when the date will be to unveil it, but hopefully it will be more user-friendly.
I mean, he's pretty good about putting a new business on the cover of the newspaper and stuff.
Right,
But,
right.
you know, out of sight, out of mind,
Mhm,
and,
mhm.
Are they starting to build the requirements for the new website?
Yes. Yes. And there's actually, I'm on this planner's listserv, and I think it's the town of Brookfield. Their website is incredible. So they share, because we were talking about digital recording devices, what they do is they actually show their planning and zoning meetings live. You can watch them stream them
Nice.
on their website. You can click, see their agenda, you can see their entire packet, everything that all of the members
I
receive.
think North Haven streams their
Their
lives too.
minutes, it's incredible.
you can, isn't there a website that you can already see these meetings?
Through YouTube. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing, kind of at a minimum. So Anthony's looking into that to see, it may be cost prohibitive, but it's this program called Earth Channel. If that is cost prohibitive, another option is we could just post our minutes like we already do, and Gina does that for us. And then through TotoketTV, there's the YouTube link. If we could just have that link on the website so that people could read the minutes, click on the link to watch it, as opposed to having to go to YouTube, search
Right.
for the date or the meeting, whatever, it would be right there. That would be convenient as well.
On the signs in here, there's something about lighted signs or flashing signs.
Yes.
I don't think we allow flashing. I think
That's
we
right.
do, they have to be backlit
Down.
Backlit,
or
yeah.
facing, or the lighting
Down.
has to be,
Facing
Away
like
from the
down,
road.
right.
The sign at the high school, does that meet code? Closeness to the road? Well, that was sort of put up real quick and,
The high school,
I
there
think
was
they're coming.
approval through this site plan approval, I believe.
Mhm.
And because I know that only because that was one of the first projects that I was involved in is the Cumberland Farms and that
Yeah.
sign going to LED. And I had looked at the only other LED sign in town, which was the high school.
Did they put that in?
Yes,
Cumberland Farms?
Cumberland Farms, yep. And actually, the car wash place I noticed also has one, the one on Route 80.
because if I'm not mistaken, we did the sign for North Branford, when they did the auditorium, if I'm not mistaken, it was a package too. Either that or when they did the renovation for the middle school.
It was probably the
It was
renovation.
one of the two, and that, when they did, yeah, I'm not sure if it was auditorium or the middle school,
Yeah.
when they brought that out.
It's only,
sounds like
it's only been a couple of years. It's been.
Yeah, probably the middle school.
Okay, so I was going to look at some sign regulations from other towns just to see what they do. I'll also talk with the state to see if they have any other ideas.
Do you know
And then we
this?
can kind of revisit it.
Yeah, because I think this was updated I'm gonna say 4 years ago, this regulation. Is there a date on it?
Well, 04, there's
really?
an update, 88.
Wow. I thought we
Yeah,
changed something.
we talked about this at length.
Unless we did, you know
Talked
what?
about it for many years.
The only thing we might have done is maybe that was part of the design district and we added something in there.
Oh, could be.
That might have been what we did.
Maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Oh.
signs has always
I
been,
don't know. How long have I been? Not since 04, I think that. Maybe.
On Fridays when you're having fun.
I think so.
Cumberland Farms had put in for, to rebuild the store a number of years ago too. They ever,
What's that?
Cumberland Farms had put a request in to rebuild it and fix the
Right.
road where the flooding was gonna happen. They were
Right.
gonna
And then
Oh,
they
yeah.
turn the
withdrew.
store.
they
It
wanted
got-
to change the angle of the store and the
Yeah.
and the
Right.
gas
It
stations.
got approved. But they never did,
And,
right?
yeah, but they never went through with it. I don't know whether it was they couldn't get the money or
Yeah.
They got a delivery trailer truck in there, and that just ties up the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
But they were gonna fix the road, what's that?
Just on the road extension.
Yeah, with the flooding, is they were gonna raise the whole road and
Yeah.
redo the flood,
Yeah.
the drainage and stuff, and
Is that a race car?
No,
and it sounds
Cleaning the
like a
floors.
bee.
Yeah, it sounds like a
Right.
race car.
angry hornets.
All right. Any town planners report?
Yes, I received an application for 1831 Middletown Avenue, just a site plan application that we'll have at the next meeting in July. This is for the self-storage units. It's a result of the zoning regulation near the Northford Park. I think that's Northford Park.
Yeah, where's 1831? I'm trying to draw the blank.
Kind of across from the convenience store that was recently redone.
Oh, so where those
There's
little-
industrial, where New Haven Sign
Yeah, yeah,
Company
yep.
is, and there's other businesses.
Yep.
They're proposing to put self-storage units.
Going back from
Another one, we just approved one, right?
No, that was just the
regulation.
regulation.
Zoning, yeah.
Now we're getting the
Oh,
site
now
plan.
it's the
This-
same place.
Yes,
so
yes,
that's
and it's
just-
all
yeah.
indoor storage.
Right.
Because remember, the regulation
Yep.
spoke to
Yeah,
indoors,
and-
site plan,
right,
and
right.
outdoors special use,
Right.
so.
Are they looking to do it behind it, right, or in front of it?
Kind of alongside of it. So the
Okay.
same buildings will still exist. If you're facing their offices, it would be to the left.
Oh, okay.
Where their parking lot is.
Yeah.
A little bit closer to Middletown Ave.
Where's this?
Northford Park. When you go across from
Is that
Tony Z's.
Yeah.
Tony Z's, is
Mhm.
it?
Yeah,
Right across the street.
Industrial park.
There's that little
Yes.
park right next to it.
All right.
Yes. And then the only other report is on Tuesday evening, I went to the special meeting that was held before the town council meeting, which was an interview with Center Plan. They're the only consultant that submitted a proposal for 1599 Foxton Road. So that's the request for proposals to sell and then redevelop the town-owned parcel that's about 6 acres, you know, where Wallfield was and everything. So Center Plan is a company that's, they have offices in Middletown and Hartford. They are currently the company that's working on the Rock Cats Stadium, which is now, I guess they're named the Yard Goats.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Where did
boy.
they
I
come
think
up with
Uh,
that
What kind of
name?
name are they gonna come up for our little property?
They said at the front, at the beginning of the meeting, we had nothing to do with the naming of any of the teams or the stadium, which is Dunkin' Donuts Stadium or
Yeah.
something like that. So they're doing that project. They're also involved in 2 projects in New Haven, Route 34, which is all retail, and then
Yep.
Crown and College, which has some residential and retail, so it's mixed use. And then they're doing a project in Framingham. They have many different different departments within their company. So they do planning, they do design, they do construction, engineering. They, like I say, they were the only company that submitted a proposal, but they are definitely very legitimate. They have some huge projects underway. The assessed value of the property was $800,000. They're proposing to pay the town $1 million, with a lot of caveats that have to be worked through and negotiated, such as taking the environmental costs off the top. So we know that there's some petroleum that exists in the soil. They're proposing to take down the 2 buildings that are on the property. They probably have asbestos tiles, maybe lead paint, probably. I don't know about any other contaminants, but that would all have to come out of that sale price. But their concept is to do mixed use, similar to what the Yale Urban Workshop spoke of and recommended through the charrette process of residential, retail, and restaurant. I think it's about 14,000 square feet of retail, maybe 4,000 of restaurant, and then 25 units of residential on the 2nd floor, and then open space as well.
Now, why, the other companies, is there any reason why they didn't bid on it? Did they send anything back?
There
on
was
the RFP?
only, no one else responded. There was only one other person who had expressed some interest like a week before they were due, and then literally 15 minutes before they were due had emailed and said, is there any way we could get an extension? And we said, no. So, you know, this company was the only one who had everything submitted properly, on time, met all the requirements. So now it's up to the council at their next meeting on July 7th, I believe. Yes, the 7th, to determine if they want to designate them as preferred developer and then go into negotiations.
Is there at the last meeting we were at, wasn't it talking about like a Rite Aid anchoring something?
So there's no, that's the suspicions that Rite Aid would be probably a large portion of that retail. Only because they've done work with Rite Aid in the past, both in Middletown and New Haven, but they didn't confirm. And there's also a drive-through component in their concept plan for a pharmacy, and then they had another window, and when we met with them, before they came to the town council, we said, are these 2 drive-throughs? How does this work? And the thing that I liked about them is that right from the beginning they said, look, we're not wed to this design. We want to work with you. We want this to be an iterative process. This is our first crack at it. We wanted to submit a proposal to the town, show you that we're listening to you as far as getting, mixed use and open space, but we're willing to work with you.
And one thing is, I was thinking about is, you have a Rite Aid. Everybody has a Rite Aid. Every town, people go, to Big Y because of pharmacy there, they'll go to Northford. So as far as economies go, all we're going to be doing is making it convenient. And there's nothing wrong with making things convenient, but instead of people going to Big Y and spending money there or up to Northford, all we're doing is redistributing where people go. Nobody from Branford's going to come to Rite Aid. Nobody from Guilford's unless they're passing by and they have to get something. That's just my thought about economy. What I would like to see, and I know there's a long way to go, something unique in there, where somebody from Guilford or Branford might show up. If it's a restaurant like a Chipotle, there's not. I don't even know if there's any around here, or a Trader Joe's or something where people we can get people to stop from outside our community and not just
Redirect,
money from one store, take it away from one, just to have it's the convenience of 2 more miles down the road to Big Y. So because Rite Aid would have I know
Sure.
they sell other things
Right.
in there.
Well, you got the Rite Aid already in Central Plaza, so they'd
Well,
be
that's
putting
the
it
other
in
thing.
Well,
store.
they probably,
Right.
I would assume they would move it. That got me thinking. I was like, when she said, I said, are we talking? And then I started more thinking about.
Yeah,
all you're gonna be doing is taking, somebody instead of going to Big Y using the pharmacy there and buying things, all they're gonna be doing is going to Rite Aid
that
instead.
wasn't what our
So-
concept was when we first started talking
Right.
about this. Was this, what you're talking about
More of a
was
restaurant. and-
unique
Yeah.
type stores. And at the time when they first came to us many years ago, was to making this like you could really walk, around and go to different stores like Trader Joe's or just different boutique type stores that people would want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Not the run of the mill. We certainly don't want a Kmart or Walgreens
Taco
or
Bell. Or,
yeah, you don't
Right,
want those in
right.
there.
And you also want to drive people if you have open space. And
Right.
and again, nothing against Rite Aid or anything like that, but if I go to Rite Aid, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be hanging out in the open space.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to a Chipotle or someplace like that,
Mm-hmm.
I might
Take
more
your lunch.
likely, either eat, or either take it out and go out and kind of, go into the open space, or just go to, if you go out and get something to eat or whatever, like I said, boutique type stores, kind of hang in that area. That's the whole. That was the whole concept that my understanding is trying to drive
Originally,
people into that could be like the focal point of having an actual
Yeah, but that would
a
be
center,
like
a
having
true
a
center.
Guilford Center
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or a Branford Center, which of course has a lot of other things, but basically there's a lot of unique boutiques type
Mhm.
places there. And the same with Madison.
Mm-hmm.
That if you got out of your car and walked around, there's a dozen places that you could stop.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was to get them to come to Northford
Mm-hmm.
and have the same kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
not a run-of-the-mill.
Right.
And somehow or other, that has got to get across to
Right.
the town council that
Right.
when they approve this thing, they don't have blinders on, like sometimes
that-
they do.
We're gonna have, we have a site, I mean, we'll get the site plan for that, so I mean.
Well, and I know that the EDC wants to be really involved and wants the town to have the ability to say, no, we don't like X company that you want to have go in there. We want someone more unique. So
Right,
that's been a discussion with them already about, are you wed to, a certain group? And their biggest thing is obviously the bottom line.
Right.
So
Yeah. All you can improve is the retail space, not who goes in the retail space.
Right. Well, yeah, I
They'll-
don't know. I mean, that's
they're
yet
willing-
to be
they-
determined, I guess,
But they'll
maybe
work
by.
with the town too, I mean, they'll work,
Right.
they'll work with the group.
So they're going to do their market study though to say, this is what the market will support.
And I mean, like, I've seen like, in some cities, you've seen some, revitalize, they come back to life and everything like that. And some of the stores that have been going in are like those unique ones.
right.
They say, well, they might not make it in this part of the city, that part of the city. Well, they actually start to flourish. I mean, like a Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks was, it was difficult to find them. Now they're popping up a little more
Yeah,
in different areas and stuff like that. And especially in this, you start starting, like in New Haven, I've seen, there's a number of nice restaurants and another, they even have where the Apple Store is, that whole little area down there.
Right.
Before that was, a bar or, just a little restaurant. Now, I mean, there's people walking on the streets in that area because there's a lot of stuff to do on the weekend there. I mean, between the restaurants, the Apple Store, the bookstore and everything. Maybe we can start taking some of that and say, let's do the same thing here in Northford.
Right.
In North Branford, so I would hope that that's some of the direction we go and we get just a.
Well, that's assuming that we get
place.
past the debate of open space versus selling the property and developing it, because that's still. I hope that that's not the focus. The town council charged the EDC and gave them the ability to work with Yale Urban Workshop and then go out for an RFP, and now we have someone who's interested. So
And
my
you
feeling
think-
is let's go forward, but I don't know that that's where the council sits.
Right.
well, that's what I'm saying, is that God willing, the council doesn't screw it up.
I know there's good wishes to bring in like the Chipotle's and stores, but the amount of traffic those stores require, you're never gonna get it here during the day. It's a drive-through town. The draw isn't here, the amount of population
Right.
to drive those stores isn't gonna be here.
Oh, I was just throwing a couple up there.
Yeah.
They'd have to do the marketing side. I'm not saying, bring in something that's not gonna work, but there has to be something other than your normal stablemates that we can bring into town that would work. I mean, and the thing is, we say it's not gonna work in North Branford because we're smaller and we can't, you couldn't support, but if we start drawing people from other towns in, that's, maybe we could, I don't know if we could support Chipotle, but maybe we could support a Trader Joe's. Or something else, but I mean, that's that's up to the marketing professionals to do,
But I
to
think to
figure
your
out.
point, it's also maybe not the exact name, whether it's
Oh, yeah, I'm just
Trader
throwing- yeah.
Joe's or Whole Foods or whatever it is. But
Just
if it's
something.
a small grocery store that gets people to stay, not just run in, pick
Right.
up whatever they need, pick up their dry cleaning and leave.
Right.
It's something so that they can purchase something, sit and eat, or sit and
Yeah.
a wireless cafe, an internet cafe. So there's there, having coffee, working on their computer, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, whatever marketing, I'm sure they have to do their due diligence and make
Yeah.
sure something will work, but just that the regular canned places is, we already have.
Well,
And I mean, like some people, like Big Y, I mean, are we gonna be able to support it when it first came here? Well, I mean, I don't know the business, but I mean, so far, it's been supported. But you start adding these similar businesses and,
Right,
something might not work out, whether,
I mean, even Big Y
and the
has
last
its,
thing we wanna do is have it.
has its problems.
Yeah, and the
Right.
last thing we wanna do is see empty businesses.
Well, I think hopefully having the mixed use component, the residential, is something that's unique. Besides Northford Store, that doesn't really exist in town, right? I can't think unless I'm
It what?
forgetting mixed use, where
Right.
there's actually
Apartment
residential
store.
and
Yeah.
retail on the same parcel.
No, I don't.
I mean, Central Plaza, you could, when they redid it 10 years ago, it helped it a lot. When they added the Chinese restaurants there, or it was Japanese.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But now, half of it, once the IGA moved out, that whole corner over there is dead.
Yes.
The whole parking lot looks terrible over on the side behind IGA. I mean, that can be all be cleaned up and put grass in there and open space, and you can, it's a lot more accessible in there, and,
Do the same thing, yeah.
yeah. Who can enforce
Yeah, but
parking
who's
by?
gonna do
There are
that?
apartments in
Who's gonna
both
enforce
streets,
parking by the
they all
Dairy Queen? Who's got
So
people
that's what
parked
I'd
in the
like to do
driveway?
next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The police department.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, try to get, someone parked there, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
that
get
is
there in
a lot.
3 hours.
Yeah.
I guess it won't show up till it's an accident, but no parking signs along that.
Right. So that application will be at the next meeting?
No.
No, I'm
Oh.
sorry, I mean, I'm just going backwards, no.
The Middletown
I
Avenue,
wish.
Yeah.
Middletown
Um,
Avenue one.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so that's scheduled for, let's see, today, it's
July
7.
9th.
Okay.
Oh, and since I haven't been at an annual meeting, what typically I meant to pull the meeting minutes, but I just thought I'd ask you. Do you vote in chair, vice chair? Because in the
It
past,
usually-
on meeting minutes, it
everything's-
just, or the agenda, it
Everything
says
usually stays
annual
the
meeting.
same.
Yeah, what we do is we ask if
Is it a
anybody.
special event? No?
No, we just ask anybody.
No champagne.
If anybody would like the position or keep it as is, and so,
Okay.
I mean,
It blends in nicely with all the other meetings.
Okay.
yeah,
That was my question. I didn't know if I needed
It really
to
packs them out.
prepare. Right.
yeah,
I know, this is strange. We're not used to not having a crowd.
yeah,
And signs in your face.
yeah.
There's nothing that interests them, that's why.
Yes.
Well,
Unless they're all at the school.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
no.
I had to make sure I didn't go to the school.
Yeah.
Well, I pulled in, I didn't see any cars, I go,
Yeah, I had to pull out my thing and say, it is here, isn't it?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
everything.
yeah. So, all right, Charlie,
Move adjourn.
second,
I second it.
all in favor?
Can you really, punch
Yes.
holes in these?
Yes.
Before you do.